Live a little, breathe a little, and go and enjoy life. Every more can make a mickle, but I want to jickle, cause things so alright. All I wanna do is live a little and breathe a little and go and enjoy life. Rolling Stones, every more can make a mickle, but I want to jickle, my friend.
Hi guys, welcome back for another episode of Heart and Soul with Rama for Rolling Stone Africa. Today I'm going to be joined by the amazing Jamaican artist, Diani.
Check from to the face and hear the voice that Diani representing live and direct for Rolling Stone Africa. Keep it locked, bud.
All I wanna do is live a little, breathe a little, and go and enjoy life.
Diani, very nice to have you here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, pleasure. So where are you traveling from?
Atlanta, had a show in Atlanta, so just got back literally from the airport to the interview.
Okay, is that where you live?
No, I live in Jamaica, just shows, working.
Oh, okay. How was your journey?
It's been good. I slept.
Did you? What, in the plane?
Yeah, I slept in the plane.
Okay. So I'd love to know a bit more about you, but every time before I delve into your journey as an artist, I would love to know a bit more about where you come from, like early days. So what was it like growing up for you in a Spanish town in Jamaica?
It was a bit of good and bad, Spanish town, Jamaica, you consider it like a slum or a hood, depending on where you come from, For me, it was a single parent household with my mom, so essentially she was always working, so I always had to find time for myself to be creative, so, that's either be playing football or, doing music. I always loved playing football, and then music was like the latter after. So it was a good journey for me. With life, you have ups and downs, and that was one of them. I enjoyed every experience. It was fun, and it was also eventful for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have any favorite memories from that time?
Yeah, definitely. A couple times, I was told not to leave the house, and I left. Went to river, and then after that we get in trouble, get a little beaten, but it was a good experience regardless, I had
Was
fun.
it dangerous to be in the river?
Yeah, it was, because I couldn't swim, but we like the water same way.
Yeah. Where's your favorite place to live in the world?
Live Jamaica.
Jamaica?
Definitely Jamaica.
Not America?
No, Jamaica. Jamaica is definitely my yard. If I had the option to do it again, I definitely would. Definitely Jamaica. Yeah. Until I go Africa, we'll see how Africa looks.
Oh, so you haven't been?
Not as
I had a
yet.
question for you about Africa, but I don't think I'm going to ask you.
No, I can ask, man.
Okay, cool. So what sparked your interest in music? Where does it come from?
All right, so music, my father plays sound system. So sound system in Jamaica is like they're DJs and they play the music loud. So when I was younger, my father used to play that, and I got intrigued from that time. Also, my mom is an avid listener of R&B, like Usher, the likes of R. Kelly, and the list goes on. So from that time, I was intrigued about not only just the sounds of music, but the sounds of bending notes, which is singing. And then, from that obsession, it grew to high school, and I had friends in high school who did music. For example, I had a friend who did. His father was a big musician, Jamie Roberts, which is Patrick Roberts, which is. Shocking Vybz. They produce artists like Beenie Man, the great Beenie Man, and other acts like that, So I saw the process of making music from that time. And, I was very intrigued about making music, and then, as I said, obsession turned into, passion, and then passion turned into a job. And after, college, I did music full time, and it's been a journey, and I've been appreciating the journey so far. It's been good. I've been having fun.
Yeah, I like that. I like to hear that. So when did you know that this was your calling? Do you remember the age, or do you remember when you told yourself, that's all I want to do? Yeah,
I would have considered the moment where I said I was going to do music was definitely after college. At that point, because I was working, during college, I was doing work, and then I was saying, this 9-to-5 thing is not for me, definitely. And as I said, I've been obsessed with music from before, and I think doing music itself, is a massive sacrifice, not just for mental, but also is a personal sacrifice. And I didn't mind making that sacrifice, but doing the 9-to-5, that sacrifice felt more burdensome than doing the sacrifice for music. So that's when I realized,
Yeah, oh, I like that. Okay,
Yeah.
so who were your biggest inspirations growing up?
Musically,
Yes.
musically, biggest inspiration. My father was one of them, obviously because he has a very diverse taste in music. But if you're talking artistically, I would have definitely say Dennis Brown, Barry Salmon, likes of Mavado, Vybz Kartel. Jackie Wilson, that's an older artist as well. But the list goes on because I'm inspired by everybody that is brave enough to do their passion, and I'm a fan of every person that does music.
Right.
And not just music itself, but every person that is a creative. From it could have be artist, it could have be painter, it could have be and it doesn't matter what you are, as long as you're brave enough to do what you want to do. I'm a fan of you. And that's
Yeah,
my
because you have
inspiration.
your own craft and your own
Yeah,
ideas, and
definitely.
you make it
Basically, you're creating reality.
something.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
thought to reality. So I'm inspired by every person that can do that.
Yeah, it's not easy for sure. It's
Yeah,
not easy, especially
definitely.
coming out of that 9 to 5 aspect. If you don't like it,
100%.
because I guess some people do like that 9 to 5
Definitely, the
life,
security of
but
it.
it's not for everyone. isn't
100%,
it?
100%.
So tell me a bit more about your songs. Do most of your songs come from personal experiences?
Yeah, all my songs come from personal experiences. Even if it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm the one experiencing it. I have friends who have experienced these experiences, and I choose to document them. And for me, music is not just about songs. It's almost like a time capsule, because these songs are very reminiscent of a time or a past time that have experienced something or someone has experienced it, and then it evokes those emotions and those memories. So it's like a time travel for me. So. Yeah, definitely from personal experience, from personal feelings, personal emotions.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Can you share a story or a moment that inspired you to write one of your songs?
Yeah, definitely. For example, I did a song called Realize. So Realize is basically a dedication to my mother. During the time, I wasn't working. So it was during this time I created the best idea I could, It was her birthday, so I didn't have enough, funds to buy a birthday gift for her. So my intention was to create an everlasting gift, which was the song. So the Realize was the song that was dedicated for her. So every birthday, every Mother's Day, she used this as her birthday gift, and says, she really appreciated it. So that's basically my experience of creating that song, creating that emotion, and even like listening back to that song now, it brings me to a time where I'm super grateful because, I can't afford to buy her anything she wants, versus back then. So, I'm beyond thankful and grateful to be able to do that.
What does your mom mean to you?
Yeah, she means the world and much more, A massive inspiration for me. She allowed me to do my passion. She allowed me to be brave enough and feel strong enough to pursue the art of music, without even no negative connotation, no demotivational speech. She was always just complete school, complete college, and then you can fulfill whatever your desires are. And and that's what I did. And big her up anyway there. Juliet, I love you endlessly.
Oh, that's so cute, guys. Oh my God. This is really sweet. So she never ever told you like, oh, you need to be a doctor, you need to be a lawyer, you need to like.
Never. She was all the things she was strict about is completing college.
Yes.
And and that's the only desire she had for me. And I did that. And after that she was very supportive, still very supportive. Because under every post I make, that's my mother commenting, say, my artist, big up yourself.
Number one
Number,
fan.
yeah. She's always inspiring me to do better, inspiring me to be a better artist, inspiring me to also go harder, because at the end of the day, the best is only good enough, and she always says that. So I'm always just trying to do my best.
So living life to the fullest is a recurring theme in some of your songs.
100%.
What does living life to the fullest mean for you in like 24 hours? What would you do to live life to the fullest?
Definitely eat food. I love food, I eat some food.
What would you eat?
Yeah, so but daily, if I live life to the fullest for me, I'm going to start off definitely with, my fruits in the morning, a glass of water, play some music, with a Barry Salmon and Dennis Brown, get some vibe, get some energy, make sure I set the energy up. For the most part, would I consider myself a loner, in a sense. I'm my only child, as I said earlier. So definitely my energy consists of being myself, self-thought, self-deliberation, and just figuring out what I want to do for the day. It doesn't necessarily have to be like going to the river or going to a party per se. As long as, I have the peace of mind for just can get up and do what I want to do. And that can be either making music, or that can either be going to the river. That can be either just linking my friend like my sister and my brethren who they are, or even just being here, for,
Yeah.
And that's me living to the fullest because, it's an opportunity for me.
Yeah, and you do what you appreciate
And I'm doing
as well.
I'm being appreciated, and I'm doing what I appreciate as well. So yeah, that is living for the fullest to me.
I love that. I
Yeah,
love
man.
that. Would you have loved to have like siblings? Because I know you mentioned you are unique.
Yeah, man, I definitely have siblings though. And when I
Yeah?
say siblings, not necessarily have to be my blood, I have brethren
Right.
or friends who do music as well, who are brothers to me, and I hold them dear. As well as I have friends from high school and from college that are very close to me. Not only as, friends, but also as, critiques and mentors as a musician, because, no man is an island, and either way, even though I'm alone, say, the journey does consist of a lot of moving parts, a lot of persons have to be involved in me reaching where I am, as because a lot of people have to talk to you before you can get to meet me right here.
Yeah.
So definitely, a team is definitely necessary, and I'm very appreciative of every single person that is a part of the journey.
Yeah. I love this gratitude
Yeah, man.
energy you bring.
Very grateful. I'm super grateful for every opportunity that I get.
I really like that.
Yeah.
So tell me, what was your reaction when you heard that Vybz Kartel is coming back?
Yeah, my reaction is just like I'm happy that he's able to come back, to his family. Obviously, being incarcerated for 13 plus years is definitely a difficult time for any person, any individual. So, that's definitely a blessing for him and the family, And he's definitely enjoying it because he's all
Yes,
over the
it
place. He's bouncing from wall to wall. And then again, that's Vybz Kartel. He's a very, very great artist, legendary artist.
Legendary.
Not only for Jamaica, but also an inspiration for me as an artist because his work rate is beyond what the ceiling is.
Yeah.
So big up Vybz Kartel, the Gaza Nation, and big up everybody that I do it.
Yeah. How has he influenced your journey as an artist? Like, because I guess you were young as well.
Yeah, I was young,
out.
but as we say, he was a very trending artist in my time. Still trending artist now, because that's like he's in the game for like over 20 years.
Yeah.
Influencing. Yeah, he definitely was influential to me in terms of not only being able to freely express himself because he's a very expressive person, and I really appreciate any person that can go against the grain of society, because he's very outspoken, he's very himself,
Yeah.
he's very what do I call it now? Free-spirited in
Yeah.
terms of his expression, and I really appreciate any person that is brave enough to do that because a lot of persons are followers in this life, and to be able to not be that is really something beyond amazing.
And that's some of the things that you do as well in your music.
100%.
You express yourself in a way
I'm
that
very freely expressive.
people will actually understand you for who you are rather than who they want you to be.
Definitely appreciative of how he does that,
Yeah.
That's also an inspiration for me in terms of writing.
Yeah. So love, seduction, happiness, these themes, they also come back a lot in your songs.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about where those, themes come from.
Okay, so for me, I say love, seduction, happiness. You said earlier, as an artist, I really dwell on living life and prospering. As I said, LLAP, that's my mantra. That's how I live my life. Live life and prosper.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So I try to live my life to the fullest, to as much as I can, So and that's also a recurring theme in my music. So that's the happiness part. That's the aspect of happiness. As well as I said earlier, my mom was an avid listener of R&B, and the basic theme of R&B is love. I love Lovers Rock, which is heavily based off love, which artists like Dennis Brown, Beres Hammond, artists like Frankie Paul as well. Their themes of music is heavily based off love, the impact of love on persons, the reaction of being loved, and the negative effects of love, like love, heartbreak, love lost, and other aspects of love. So it's a very deep and very complex emotion that is definitely, it cannot be overly documented.
Yes.
Because I think love is probably the most reoccurring theme in music, I think, statistically. You know, I think it's the most recurring theme. Love is heavily marketed as well. So I think the world needs it.
Yes,
So
and
I
everyone
saw-
lives love differently as well.
100%,
Through their own
100%,
eyes,
you know.
through their own perspective,
Yeah,
which is very
yeah.
interesting.
So that was my intention as an artist, you know. A connoisseur of love. Try to make sure, so, you know, everybody feel the emotions I try to evoke.
Nice. So your song, Heaven Telegram,
Yeah.
resonate deeply with us. So for me, when I heard it first, it meant that don't let someone go before
Before
you
you
have to
exit.
say
100%.
everything you wanted to say to them, and now you cannot say it anymore physically because they are not here anymore. Like, how did you come about writing the lyrics of this song?
Okay, so that song was created, as I said, from a past experience. So I had somebody that died. You know, it was from a drunk accident, like drunk. It was like a hit and run. They were drunk and type of situation, and it did cut me up deeply inside. You know, as well as I wasn't sure how to process these emotions, and the best way to process most of my emotions is through music. And for me, when I was like analyzing how I was feeling, I realized that there was a lot of things that weren't said that I should have said at the time. And I think that was basically a map of what I was trying to sing. You know, to express yourself now, because, you know, time is very short, it's very limited. Not everybody has the same 24 hours, even though you might think that, you know, it's very scripted and destiny comes at any time, and, you know, try to express yourself as much as possible before it's too late. And as I said, it all boils down back to gratitude. You know, being appreciative of now, being appreciative of the present, and being appreciative of every single person that you have interactions with.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm sure you've definitely learned from that experience, and now you tell the people around.
Yeah, man, I
yourself
love
that you love them.
I love you too. I love Rolling Stone. I love everybody.
That's very inspiring.
Yeah, man.
So as a Jamaican artist, have you been influenced by African culture within your artistry?
100%. Even in my earlier career, I was very influenced by the early rising of Afrobeats. You know, even with Wizkid, although, you know, it's almost like a push and pull type of vibe, because, you know, Wizkid and Africa does get inspiration from Jamaica. Jamaica does pull inspiration from Africa.
Yeah.
We are one in the same basket, regardless. But I'm very much influenced by Africa, not only by music, but by the culture itself. I'm very enthused to be there, very enthused to visit, very enthused to really collaborate, you know, sounds. I'm an avid fan of African jazz.
Yeah.
I love African jazz, you know,
amazing.
and the likes of, you know, Fela Kuti has also inspired me in terms of my musical research. You know, I'm very thorough in my research of music, because obviously, as I said, I'm a fan of music before an artist. You know, so, and Africa does have a real influence on my sound and the emotions I try to bring.
Nice. So is there an African artist that you would love to work with in the future?
Yeah, definitely. I worked with Stoneboy recently on my recent single called Life Amazing, which is like an Afrobeat-esque type of sound. But there are a lot of artists I really want to work with, you know. Buju is one. He's not Buju anymore, but I think it's BXN.
Yeah.
I love his sound. I love Oxdale. Love Oxdale sound. Definitely Wizkid, a very massive inspiration for me, Burna Boy. But, you know, Thames, Miracle. I know you're there. You know?
Pick up.
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, so those are amazing. Some of the inspiration for me as an artist. You know? I really appreciate it. And Fela Kuti as well.
Yeah.
Fela Kuti, obviously, you know, the god of Africa, Afrobeats.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you if you have traveled to Africa, but you said you haven't yet. So
Not yet.
which countries would you love to go to?
Should be going December. Stoneboy has a concert.
Okay.
In Ghana, so hopefully I go there. I'm looking forward to go to Tanzania as well. Heard South Africa is also nice in terms of sites. Yeah, looking forward to see there as well. But definitely Ghana, Nigeria, and Egypt.
Senegal, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. If I can go everywhere in Africa, I definitely could. I would.
Africa is very beautiful.
Yeah, very big, very big. Motherland,
Yeah.
so.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
That's the roots.
The roots, yeah, man, definitely. And go to what do you call it? The door of no return. I think.
Oh, that's in Senegal.
That is in Senegal, yeah,
That's
more
where,
experience.
there's a lot of history.
I want to
there,
experience
for sure.
that, yeah.
L'île de Gorée.
Yeah.
L'île de Gorée. So it's where, you know,
The slaves went, yeah.
exactly.
I definitely would like to see that, you know.
Yeah.
And learn some more about the history right there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you feel all the emotions. Everyone that's been there, like they can sense that something happened there. So that's definitely a trip that you should do.
Yeah, it's on the bucket list.
Yeah. So as an artist, was there a moment where you ever felt like giving up?
I think for every artist, that's a reoccurring feeling. But I think ultimately the passion of music does override that. You know, there are many times where, you know, I feel like it's not working. Even before having the break or the hit singles, I felt like it wasn't working, and I felt like it's best to do a 9 to 5. And then actually thought about doing the 9 to 5. I was like, no, I'd rather do the music. You know, so for me, ultimately, the passion overrides any other emotions, and ultimately, I'm always music first. Everything else comes after, and then I'll figure out the rest during that process. But definitely, there are moments in my life where I've experienced extreme doubt, extreme hopelessness in terms of the process of being accepted, and then it also leans on the fact that, you know, you shouldn't be motivated by results, but be motivated by the process. As I said, the journey is most important than the actual destination. And I used to dwell on the destination more than the process. So I'm process guy, journey guy. I'm
really
appreciating it. And yes, the feeling of gratitude is always being evoked.
Yeah. So as you know, other artists, I'm sure some of them sometimes feel like giving up. As so many have given up on the craft because of the process, and they want to get results before actually going through that journey. So do you also recommend that it's okay to have a break as an artist and come back stronger? Like, what's your to-do?
Okay, for me, I think it varies, because for me, what works for me doesn't work for the next person. But ultimately, if you do need to take a break, physically, mentally, it does help, because, you know, you can't sacrifice your health, because without your health, you can't make the music properly. So ultimately, I do advise that if you can, or if you can manage that function, because, you know, for me, if I took a break, I don't think it would make sense. I definitely had to work through that break, you know, and break through that mold of doubt, and, you know, outwork myself in the space of feeling like it's working. I think that's my process. For me, that's different from a next person probably functioning in the same space. Yeah. You know, some people take a rest and then back to work. Some people work straight and then take a rest. So it varies.
Yeah, it varies, I guess, for everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone
Very
is
subjective.
Yeah, 100%. So, do you feel like modern love has become too transactional or superficial compared to the deeper connections you sing about?
I think yes and no. I think it has become transactional depending on, you know, obviously your experience. It's a very subjective experience, but when I do talk about modern love, it's almost from an ideal perspective. In most cases, love isn't ideal. You know, you have good, bad ups and downs. You know, it's life. You know, everybody won't agree on the same, or everybody won't have the same understanding of what love is. I think ultimately, you know, it's what works for you, you know, because some people can deal with a transactional process of love, you know, and some people can't. So, as I say, it's very subjective. But for me, when I was writing love from an aspect, I was writing from the ideal aspect of what I aspire for love to be.
Right, that makes sense. So what are some of the biggest challenges you have faced in your journey so far as a musician?
Biggest challenge is marketing. Definitely, and that is as open as possible. Marketing is probably the hardest task as a product, because I am a product. Figuring out how best to use the marketing to my advantage, you know, because, as I said, it works. What works for somebody else doesn't necessarily work for me as an artist. It's not a cookie cutter, clear mold of how to market every artist. You know, every artist have different personalities, different factors why they are this type of artist or why they're intriguing to our audience. So I think for me it's figuring out how best to market internationally and also on social media. You know, I'm not sure about anybody else, but I think that's the hardest part of making music.
Do you do your own marketing?
I try to.
Yeah.
I try to, you know.
Have
I
you
try
got a
to.
team as well? Like, is it
Yeah,
50-50, I guess?
we're developing it, you know. To be honest, it's regardless with a team or not, it's still just, it's just a weird space, you know. Even with the advent of TikTok and Instagram, you know, there are so much algorithm to learn, relearn, unlearn, and you know how to function in the space. Most artists, if they can testify, you know, marketing is definitely a difficulty.
Yeah.
If you're especially independent.
Yeah.
Not everybody have like a red button where they can press and it's outside.
Yeah, and all the trending as well.
All the
Trends
trending.
always change. Every day
Always
there's something
change.
new and you have to
Learn
adapt
it and have to
all
learn
the
it.
time.
Yeah, so for me, I think that's the hardest part of being a musician.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us one fun fact about yourself that most people wouldn't know about you.
I'm a footballer by heart. I played football before I was doing music, like from high school to college. I was like an avid footballer. I actually thought I was going to be like next Ronaldo, to be honest. It didn't work out, but you know, we're there.
It's not too late.
I've given up on those dreams of becoming a footballer, but yeah, I'm an avid fan of football, you know. Arsenal is also, I'm a fan of Arsenal.
Arsenal, you heard?
Yeah, man, Gunners.
If you're looking for a player.
Yeah. You know, them give me a lot of heartbreak, but you know, I'm a big fan of music, of football, you know. I'm a very, very big fan of football, you know. So, yeah, that's a fun fact about me.
Nice. And yeah, lastly, what advice would you give to aspiring singer who dream of making it into the global scene?
Be yourself, ultimately. Be yourself and work as hard as possible. Network as much as well, but ultimately, it all depends on you and it's all heavily based on you. Work as hard as possible, network as much as possible, and just do your thing, but always be you and stay true to yourself.
You heard him. Do the thing.
Yeah.
That's it. Do the thing.
Do your thing, and let go.
Thank you, Diani. Thank you so
very
much for being here today and
I appreciate
inspiring us.
Blessings, blessings. Live life and prosper always. LLAP.